is fine. If you hear it.
We're doing great. And my guest this time is Natacha Ginocchio, who's a public relations person who specializes in branding. Natacha, welcome to Job Search Radio. Great to have you on board.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for having me today. I'm so excited about sharing a little bit of knowledge, or a lot, however you want to call it, this amazing social media times.
Super. Now, as a branding person, as someone who understands the importance of social media and branding, these are extraordinary times. There are just so many tools that exist for people to create an impression of themselves online, and folks don't take advantage of them. Why do you think that is?
Or they don't do it right.
Oh, we're going to get into that.
The do's and don'ts.
So the first thought I have is, why don't they bother if they fall into that category?
I think it's in human nature. Most people, most of us, like to think that other people can do it and that other people are doing the right thing, but we just forget about ourselves. And we think that working hard, it's enough to get ourselves ahead. And that's not the case. That is definitely not the case. We need to start putting a little bit of time in branding ourselves and using what we have in the current times with social media platforms and digital platforms to start branding ourselves and promoting ourselves better.
So you use two terms that I think many people would think are interchangeable: social media and digital. How do you differentiate between them?
For personal branding purposes, social media are just the social media platforms, and those are Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat right now is very popular. We have all the other social media platforms, Pinterest, there's new ones coming up every day. Then there's digital platforms like, for example, your podcasts are digital platforms that can be used to brand yourself. Your blogs, personal blogs, are digital as well. And then if you go on and start talking about mobile, there's so much, but they're different, and they can be and should be used differently.
Agreed. I just started playing with Anchor.fm, which, for me who does podcasting, it's a fun platform where once you're connected on the site, 2-minute audios you can do with regularity to establish a brand. So thank you for clarifying that, because I think for a lot of lay people, you're the pro, they're the lay people, they don't really know how to distinguish the difference. So, they don't take the time to get involved, or they start doing it wrong. Now, we can start beating people up about what they do wrong. You want to do that?
If you want me to, I can, if I don't say it and you don't say it, who else is going to say it to people? And it's important that the listeners understand, and sometimes we're doing things that are wrong and we don't even know that they're wrong. We think we're doing it right. If we knew they were wrong, we would never do them. You would never do something to harm yourself as a brand, right? So things that you're doing that I see constantly, oh my God. The number one thing is talking about yourself too much in social media. It's not very well perceived by other people. People don't want to be bothered so much about things that you do all the time. And the me mentality, it doesn't work very well for social media. How do you better yourself when you do want to be active in social media every day? Because you should take 15 minutes a day every day to be active in social media. Active doesn't mean that you are talking about yourself all the time. It means that you are doing something in social media to bring yourself so that other people know what you're doing. Here are the things that you can do instead of talking about yourself all the time.
Drum roll, please. There we go. Number one.
You know what? You can talk about other people. Okay, so for example, something very good social media practice is to follow the people that are leaders in your industry and like the things that they do, share with others, comment on their posts. That's one thing that you can do to stay active in social media and not talk about yourself all the time. People appreciate when you share something that is a valuable content from others. There's another thing that you can do to be active and not talk about yourself, and that is when there's a colleague and there's a friend that is getting ahead and doing something amazing, spectacular, comment as well and say, congratulations, you're doing fantastic. People will remember your name, and they will remember that you're commenting on valuable content instead of creating content about yourself that it's not even, it becomes repetitive. So what happens is you start commenting, sharing from other people's content every day, you stay top of mind for everybody. But then when you share something about you, then people respond because they know that you're not constantly talking about yourself.
Makes perfect sense. Does that work better for LinkedIn, for Facebook, for Twitter, all three?
I think that works better for all the social media platforms. It's just good social media practice. Being kind to other people.
Yeah. And LinkedIn, I think, makes it a little hard because, I'll use myself as an example. 15,500 first level connections. And if I'm looking at my homepage and watching everything scroll by, I see nothing.
Right.
So yes, you can send messages, and they try to make it easy for the app with the app. And the app is, in many respects, is much better than the web application. It's a lot easier to work with.
Unfortunately, what is happening, and we could talk about something else, and it's paid media, social media on a paid level. What's happening is that a lot of the social media platforms are working so hard, but they were not capitalizing on the user experience, and what they did was try to do so. So Facebook has been doing very well for years. Everybody knows that you can create your personal page, your professional page. So if you are a personality or would like to start branding yourself as such, then you should open a page versus just working with your personal Facebook account. For LinkedIn, it's a little bit different. They were struggling with that for the longest time. Now, in the past couple of years and even months, we have seen improvements like, you should be creating original content for LinkedIn. And if you have a personal blog, do go ahead and post it on LinkedIn as a post, because it's content that people read. But again, value is king. Not queen, it's king. You always have to be perceived as a person that gives value to others. It's not always, when you think about yourself all the time, you're not giving value to other people. Always try to be nice, help others, and you will see an improvement in people's engagement and reaction to everything that you're doing.
And one of the things that's real clear to me, Natacha, as I'm sure as it is for you, but not often to civilians, is that branding is an exercise that you don't just simply do when you need to change jobs. It's an ongoing practice that you need to develop in order to ensure that when you want to change jobs, that image is clear in people's minds that you're an expert and you're someone that they should go to. Do I have that right?
Yes, 100% I agree with you. You know what I always say to people that come to me with a branding problem, when they are not selling or they're not seeing the results that they need, and then they want results right away from a branding campaign in a matter of, weeks, a month. That is crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be branding yourself all the time. When you take your time to and make it a common practice to brand yourself on social media, on digital platforms, and even direct mail. I use everything interchangeably and be a guest speaker. You use everything because the media mix is ultimately what's really going to be the most powerful tool that you can use for a branding campaign. You have to make it a common practice to always brand yourself. It's a very simple thing. If you don't see yourself as a brand, in these times, it's just crazy. You should not even be asking yourself that. Wonder why, when we are born, we're giving a name, and why it's so important to have a last name, and in some cultures, 2 last names and more names. Why is that? It's because it's that is the day you're born and you're giving a name, that is your brand, that is who you are. And it's up to you to take care of it. Just like with physical exercise, we take care of our bodies. With branding, we take care of our image. And that affects the way other people perceive you and the way you start perceiving yourself. I'm going to give you an example. If you are a carpenter, right? But you really know that that's where you are right now in your career, in your life. By chance, this is who you are right now. But that's not who you're going to be your entire life. So you should ask yourself, how do I want to be perceived by other people? I don't want people to think that I'm a carpenter. I want people to think that I am or can be a constructor or I don't know, the owner of my own company. Then when you start branding yourself as that name,
that what you want to be,
that category, how you want others to perceive you, with time, if you start implementing branding practices on a daily basis to your daily routines, monthly routines, then people in time will become to perceive you and think of you as whatever it is that you want them to think you are. And as such, you will become that person. So
makes perfect sense. And this is where we're going to pick up in just a moment. But first, folks, someone's got to pay for this. We're back. So let's pick up with Natacha where we left off. And I just want to say that you are so right about this, that people need to make this investment of time. And I love that example of branding by your name, because that is really how we differentiate ourselves from one another in our normal lives. But in our careers, a lot of people don't do that. So what should people be doing in terms of, and I know you've spoken about a couple of things, but I want to make sure we get to those, and then we'll go back and punish those bad people who just don't do enough, okay? Or the wrong thing.
Yes. So now I want to touch, we talked a little bit about social media, but I want to talk about implementing traditional public relation practices, things that were only done before by the movie stars, right? The senators, the presidents, you see the election right now. You see what's happening to Donald Trump. You see who we perceived he was when he started the campaign. Most people are changing their mind. You see it. Branding has an effect. It could be a positive, it could be a negative, but there is no question about branding and rebranding. So common practices that PR executives or experts do is, the first thing you have, and that normal folks here can start implementing right now, tonight, when you stop listening to this is what you should do. You hire a photographer, not your cousin from around the corner. No, you hire a professional photographer. Maybe it is a $250 investment that you make on yourself. You have to look good because social media platforms right now are very driven by pictures and videos. So hire a photographer and take your professional headshots. The second thing is start writing a professional bio and go beyond the resume. When you send your resume, it is nice to see the resume, but when you write a professional bio that has, and this is key, not a bio that's boring and you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that is what goes in the resume. Why did you send me a bio? The bio has to have, number one, how you want others to perceive you. We already talked about that. Perception is reality, right? It becomes reality in time. And then the other thing is a list of accomplishments. So, and we go back to your first question, Jeff. Remember why people don't do this? Why do they? Sometimes we even forget the things that we have accomplished in our lives. So before you start writing your professional bio, and it should be short, to the point, full of juice. You know, you list.
How long do you think it should be? I'm going to pause you there. How long do you think a bio should be?
I think a bio shouldn't be more than 3 paragraphs. If it fits in 1 page, that is the perfect bio. And you should always, if it's 2 pages, I don't want to hear 2 pages. No. If it is, and you should always have a long bio and a short bio. Why do you need a short bio? Okay. Every time you become, so part of branding, it's also that you're going to try to push yourself to be a guest speaker. Because that's part of branding yourself, right? You cannot just be.
Oh, that's going to be so hard. Oh.
Yes, but you know what? Sometimes, and people think, oh my God, a guest speaker. But you know what? You could also be the person that opens up for it in your jobs. There's constantly people, leadership teams are always looking for people to open up for them in Q&As for the company. Things like that, simple things. You don't have to think, oh, I'm never gonna be a superstar or a guest speaker. But guess what? If you have an intro that those leaders will always use, you can go ahead and send the email to your boss and say, hi, here's my intro. I would love to introduce you in today's meetings. And this is who I am. When your boss reads one small short bio, 1 paragraph that says, Natacha Ginocchio is the founder of the flower club that handed out 1,000 flowers to girls and make them laugh in 2005, and now she works at this amazing company. Your boss is going to be impressed. It's not the same as saying, hi, I want to introduce you in today's meetings. People are going to perceive you differently. Bios, long bios shouldn't be more than a page, and a short bio should be only 3 sentences, no more than that.
Perfect. And folks, I just want to say to you that you may think this is unnecessary for you at this stage of your career, but I always like to encourage you to be ready for the next stage of your career, because it's not like someone gives you 6 months to get ready. You know, suddenly opportunity lands in your lap and you have to be prepared to show up and show up big. So I want to encourage you, if you're not comfortable speaking, get to a Toastmasters meeting. Start practicing there. You know, even before you join, there's normally opportunities to speak at what they call table topics. You know, a 1 to 2 minute extemporaneous speech on a topic that you have no idea what it's going to be about in advance, and it gives you that opportunity to practice. And with that practice, of course, comes confidence, right? So, you know, at the end of the day, you got to get ready for all these opportunities to come to your lap. And I'll go one extra point. After all, one day the recruiter may call you up and have an opportunity, and you're not going to have a lot of time to practice. So you want to have the resume ready, your LinkedIn profile up to date, and you want to be practicing for your interview, because part of that is branding. And the impact of all this stuff that you're doing is going to cause more opportunities to come to you. And you always want to be able to deliver when opportunity presents itself. So long diatribe to basically say, folks, listen to what she's saying. It really makes sense.
It is. You know what? And I want to put myself, I want people to also, what you just said, it's so important to give yourself a chance. Do it. These things work. Leaders are doing it. You have to start somewhere. It takes time to be the leader that you want to be, to get ahead in your career, to get that promotion, that raise. It takes time. So do these things. When I was an assistant account executive in an advertising agency many years ago, that's how I started my career, in Y&R Miami, I could not talk in front of my peers. I'm not talking about the client. I'm talking about my boss. I couldn't talk to her. I just got nervous all the time. But you know what? With time, and I was always a very shy girl. And look at me now. Can I talk?
Ta-da! Ta-da!
But it takes practice, and you have to absolutely have to push yourself to see where your limits are.
That's right.
Push yourself to your limit.
The person who gets ahead isn't always the smartest. They don't always work the hardest, although those are great qualities to have. People get ahead by being alert and prepared for opportunity. Sometimes those opportunities are going to be internal to your organization, but most of the time they're going to be external to your organization. And being ready is so important, and creating that reputation for yourself is critical, because you never know when that opportunity is going to occur for you. So what else should people be doing to brand themselves?
I think it's important to always be looking out for opportunities. Okay. And let's go back to the bio. I promise, if you do this tonight and you look at your bio, you start looking out for opportunities. You look at your bio in 6 months, and then look back a year from today. Okay. You will see how that bio is going to change drastically. You have to do this. You have to look out for opportunities and push yourself out there. For example, whatever you see that others are doing in your workplace that you wish you could be doing one day, you should push yourself to do it. Talk to your boss, talk to your supervisor, and say, I'm interested in doing this. I know I'm not ready, but I would like to get the opportunity to at least prepare myself. Can you do that? You know what? Your boss is going to come to you, and he is going to say, I like this attitude. Sometimes it's about attitude. And people like, other people that like to take things out of our shoulders, especially if you're a supervisor already, you want to get ahead. And you want to take people that are already in your team. So if you start doing this on a daily basis, you always have this mentality that you're looking out for opportunities. Something is going to come out from here to in 6 months. You're gonna do, I promise you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that are new to your career. Okay? If you don't push yourself, you're just going to stay where you are, and that's not what we want. There's no game in standing still, what I mean. And don't become bitter. Don't be like just always talking about how others are getting ahead and you're not. No, don't do that. Just set yourself up for opportunities and go ahead and try to conquer your fears. In 6 months, I promise to you, you have your bio and your resume, it's going to change drastically. If you do that within a year, your name, it's going to be totally different. And that in your brand, how people are going to start perceiving you, it's just different from who you were a year ago. Some people just never advance in their careers because they are just afraid. They may think, they're waiting for other people to give them the opportunity. Nobody's going to give you an opportunity. And why should they? You need to push yourself to reach your limits and look for opportunities. Always, all the time.
I agree. Now I'm going to play around a little bit, and I'm going to look at my own bio here. And folks, if you want to play along, if you go to the biggamehunter.us/bio, mine begins, I've got a video up there, which I'm not going to play because it'll drive people crazy. But mine starts off with, and by the way, the video has a great shot of me as the cover to it. And then it starts off with, many of you have heard or read about the notion that it takes 10,000 hours of doing something to reach mastery. I'm someone who has conservatively done 10,000 hours times 9. So clearly what I'm trying to demonstrate is expertise. How does that sound to you?
That sounds very good. I think when you quantify your accomplishments, it looks even better, because a lot of, and that's why it's genius. A lot of people don't quantify what they have done. They say, I am an expert in XYZ industry. Well, guess what? Everybody's going to say that they're an expert in that industry. What is the one thing that it's unique to you? And can you quantify it? It's genius. I love it. So
great. Perfect. Terrific. Thank you. Now, we've got a little bit of time left. We're doing great, and I want to make sure that we cover all your major points here. So what else should people be doing or not doing in order to promote themselves or fix their mistakes?
I think I don't want to talk about any more negative. Like if you're doing something, the one thing that you shouldn't be doing is whatever it is that you're doing and it's not giving you results. I don't know what that is. You have to answer that for yourself. But whatever it is that you're doing and it's not taking you anywhere, don't do it again. Just change it up. Then it's worth trying new things. Because in trying new things, it's how you discover how you would like to brand yourself and what really works for you. Because, you can try to brand yourself as something and you can do different things. I mean, different industries work differently. But ultimately, you have to know that. You have to know that. You have to answer that question for yourself. And then other tips that I think help so much is, once you write that bio and you have that professional, please, a professional image shot by a photographer with great lighting that really says, oh my God, this person is someone. I don't know who she or he is, but it looks good. Put that information everywhere. Where can you do that? Yes, start by LinkedIn, because LinkedIn right now, it's working so well, but also all the other platforms about that. Me, put it in whatever industry you're in. Look at the top executives or personalities that you admire and would like to become like those people one day. Follow the leaders. See what they're doing. They're not reinventing the wheel. You are not reinventing the wheel. We don't have time for that. Wherever they go, you follow. Because one day, if you do that, I promise you, you're going to get there faster. So let's say in the fashion industry, a lot of people are, it gives notoriety to participate in X amount of conferences. Go to those conferences, but don't stop there. Submit that resume, that bio. and submit that image, that picture, that professional image and that professional bio, and say, hey, I want to talk, I want to be in this conference. Can I participate? Can I be a guest speaker? Can I be, do it. Put yourself out there. Don't limit yourself to just what you think others are doing. Do what the leaders are doing. Put your bio and your image everywhere, wherever you know that it's valuable to others and where people are going to find you and give value to others. It's important. We touched this already, but it is so important in the digital era, in the information era, to always give value to others and not talk so much about ourselves, but always try to help others. That's how you become a leader. That's how you faster than just sitting in your chair and saying, oh, you know what, I have a deadline.
Who cares?
Yeah, deadline. Everybody has a deadline. I have 1,000 deadlines, but guess what? I take my time to give back to others. And people like that, and help when you can. That's what leaders do. That will get you ahead. And then one day, someone is going to remember that you have that expertise and will hire you and give you that opportunity. Even when this happened to me, someone gave me an opportunity to do public relations when I had no experience. And I am forever thankful to this person. I don't know what she saw in me, but she was right. She was right. And this is what I've been doing for years already, And it started because I started a blog and I started to do things differently. You see? Change it up.
And I want to remind folks on social, we're doing this in early part of 2016. And, folks, be careful about politics online. Be careful about religion, sex, drugs. Pick the pictures that you choose. Everything is findable these days, and there's no turning back. So I know this should go without saying, but I keep getting surprised, so it still has to be said. Be careful about what you post, because you never know.
Be very careful.
Anything else? Any last minute things I've forgotten to mention or forgotten to ask you?
I think if you do these things and you start implementing these practices, this social media, being active in social media, not just talking about you, but being active for 15 minutes a day, every day, you will find that your life is going to change. And please do the bio and the headshot.
And I want to emphasize one site that you mentioned in there that doesn't get a lot of notice, about.me. Was it about.me? Yes.
Right.
And what that does, folks, is it's a site where you can aggregate all your social media links like a hub and put it into a signature file for when you send things out. Great photo opportunities for sharing there.
Looks good.
Look great. That professional headshot like Natacha suggests. And thus people can get a holistic picture of you.
Right.
And all the things that you're involved with and interested in. So clearly that's another reason why you drop the drugs in the pictures and you avoid politics during this time of year. And by the way, I'll just speak for myself here. On Facebook these days, I hide every single political meme or message. Doesn't matter which side it is, I've gotten rid of all of it. It's completely unnecessary in my life. I think you'll find the same is true for you too. Natacha, thank you so much. This has been terrific. How can people find out more about you and the work that you do?
Well, if you go to about.me / Natacha Ginocchio, you will Natacha Ginocchio, and that is Natacha with Natacha with a C, and Ginocchio like Pinocchio but with a G. You will find out a lot about me. I'm also on LinkedIn. Natacha Ginocchio. And I try to always get back to people. Sometimes I travel a lot and I'm on the go, but I always try to get back to people. But LinkedIn, it really is the best way to, in a professional level, to get in touch with me.
Super. And folks, she's right. She does travel a lot. And as such, be patient with her. She will get back like she did with me. Natacha, thank you. And folks, I'll be back next time with someone else to help you with your job search. I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. And I just want to say, if you enjoyed today's show, give it 5 stars in iTunes. Give it a big thumbs up. Write a great review. It helps other people discover the show. And I also want to mention, if we're not connected on LinkedIn yet, send a connection request to me. The page is linkedin.com/in/the Big Game Hunter. Hope you have a great day. You're welcome. Take care, folks. Back next time.
Thank you.